Hola chicos! Today we're going to talk about the verb tener, saying what somebody has. Now you've already seen some of this verb. There's going to be some new parts to this, so there's going to be some stuff we've known. There are going to be some new twists to it, so this is going to be a really interesting way how we take something old and add in something new to it. Alright, so what we are going to do here, let's start off with our verb tener. Alright, so tener means to have. Let's start right there with that, indicating that tener does mean, change my color here, to have. Okay, that's what you have. Right? It is a stem changing verb. Okay, and a stem changing verb simply means, I can get rid of this, a stem changing verb simply means that something in the stem is going to change as well. We've always talked about it. I'm going to scroll down here a second so you can see this. We've always talked about a verb having two parts. So you've got the ending on the infinitive, your ER in this case. You've got your stem. Well, we've always just kind of chopped off that infinitive ending, added a new ending, to the stem, which is what's left over, and then voila, the verb is conjugated and somebody is actually performing the action. When a stem changing verb, you actually change the stem as well as the verb itself. So tener has a very interesting stem change. It is going to stem change an E to an IE. So in the stem, the E is going to change to an IE. Make this red, all right? So it's an E to IE stem change. And it probably looks a little different on your paper than it does on my screen, but that's okay. There are four kinds of stem changing verbs. We were only dealing with this one. So this is an E to IE stem changer. Stem changing verbs have a little nickname, and you're going to see why here in a second. They are often called shoe verbs, because we're going to draw a little picture of a shoe, and we're going to see how they only stem change inside the shoe. And just like verbs like hacer and like salir and like oír, which you'll learn later, tener has an irregular yo form. So the yo of tener is also irregular. The cool thing is, you already know it. You know that irregular yo. Here we go. So tener is an extra tidbit. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. Sometimes we use tener to have in expressions where to be is used in English. For example, one such expression, tener plus your number of años. So, tengo 14 años. I am 14 years old. We've used that for a long time. Here we go. So we're going to scroll down here and talk about our stem changing verb. So, quickly said, we are going to conjugate the way we always have. Tener is still an ER verb. There's nothing crazy going on with that. What's going to be different, I'm pulling up my pen here for a second, is that we are going to have an extra change in the stem. So you see this E right here, boop, we are going to change that E to an IE, which I just mentioned. That E in the stem becomes an IE in some forms, not all of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to conjugate it wrong so I can show you how to conjugate it right. Now, if tener did what tener was supposed to do, which is follow the little, you follow our plan. This is what we've always done. We take our stem, I'm going to make this a little smaller so we can see tener, okay? And we would say teno. That's what we have, right? And we'd say tenéis, and tené, and tenemos. Ooh, whoops. Sorry about that. And tenéis, and tenen. If tener did what tener was supposed to do, that's what would happen. But like we just said, that E is going to change to an IE. Now let's start up here first. Let's start with tengo. We know that the yo form is tengo. That has that irregular yo. So yo tengo, I have. Do you see my little drawing here? How my boxes are a little dark around here? This is our shoe. I want you to visualize this is a shoe. It's a low top shoe. Okay, we will have high tops later. This is a low top shoe, and it shows where we stem change. So we are only going to change this E to an IE, this E in the stem, inside of the shoe. So what's going to happen is we're going to add an I. Tú tienes. Same thing here. We're going to change the E to an IE. Tiene. Inside the shoe, tienen. Notice outside the shoe, tenemos and tenéis, we never stem change in the nosotros or the vosotros form. It only happens inside the shoe. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Keep in mind, guys, this is still an ER verb. The endings don't change. It's still o, es, e, amos, ais, en. If it were an AR verb, it'd be o, as, a, amos, ais, an. The only difference is we are now adding a little bit of a change in the stem as well. kind of tricky thing about these is, you know tener is an ER verb because it ends in ER. There's an indication there. Unfortunately, with a stem changing verb, there's really no way to know it's a stem changing verb unless you know it's a stem changing verb. So that is something you just have to memorize on your own. And you do it enough time, saying it wrong is going to sound silly anyway. So we want to get to the point where when we say it wrong, it sounds silly. So the best thing we can do in order to do that is do a lot of practice. So let's go ahead and do some translations here. All right, and use our verb tener. Remember that tener does mean to have. Here we go. So I have. Yo, we've already talked about the yo form being tengo. Yo tengo. Some. Do you remember some? It is unos. Or unos if it's feminine, but we are talking about audífonos. Yo tengo unos audífonos. I have some headphones. So there we go. Very simple, straightforward. Let's talk about this next one. Susana and Esteban have a tablet. All right, put it together. Susana y Esteban have. Okay, so our verb is tener. We're going to back it up. Let's take off that E ending and add the ending for Susana y Esteban, which would be N. So we're good, right? Wrong. This one has a stem change. We just talked about this. Tienen. What do they have? A. Whoops. Una tableta. There we go. Anita and I have a gaming system. Notice we're practicing our new vocabulary for electronic devices. Anita y yo. That is the same as nosotros. The verb is tener. We do not stem change nosotros. It is tenemos. What do we have? Una consola de juegos. There it is. So notice we stem change for ellos and ellas. We don't stem change for nosotros, and yo is completely irregular. So it's getting these forms to sound natural to us. Let's try another one. So we have you have a CD burner in your house. We've got tú. Have. This one stem changes. So what would be just T-E-N? T-I-E-N. Tienes. Tú tienes un quemador de CDs en tu, no accent mark, casa. Tú tienes un quemador de CDs en tu casa. Notice CDs, lots of people like to add an apostrophe S in there. There's no apostrophes. We're not going to use apostrophes in Spanish. Let's try another one. We got a couple of these. We just got two more. And then we're going to add something kind of new-ish, which I mentioned at the beginning. We've got you and Paco, so both of you, tú, whoops, y Paco, have. All right, the verb is tener, stem change. Now, are we going to deal with this in the nos and the ustedes or the vosotros? Let's just go, let's pretend we're from Spain, and let's use the vosotros because the vosotros form is not going to stem change. Tú y Paco tenéis. Okay. Sound system. We'll just use stereo. Estéreo. Tú tenéis un estéreo. All right, and then last but not least, this one, we've got she has an MP3 player. Okay, ella. Stem change. Tiene. You add that extra I in there. Un reproductor de MP3. Whoops, don't need that. Bam. All right, so there's some examples of using have with some of our new vocabulary on electronic devices. Let's go down here to the bottom of the page. These are tener idioms. Okay, a tener idiom is an expression where in English we use to be, but in Spanish we use to have. The most common of these, the one we've done already, is asking about age. All right, so we've said that we literally do not say how old are you. We say how many years do we have. Control, Alt, Shift, question mark. All right, so the question was, if you remember, how many? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And we haven't been using it, but we'll put it in there, tú, to show you the order of the question. You don't necessarily need it, but ¿cuántos años tienes tú? We don't say I am so many years, we have so many years. Yo is irregular. Tengo, we've done that forever. 15 años. Doot, doot, doot. Yay! So I just learned how to use my keyboard shortcut, so I don't have to pull up my little keyboard anymore. I finally figured out how to configure the language preferences of my computer properly, which makes me really, really excited. All right, here we go. Next one. How old are Andrea and Susie? Let's talk about other people. So we've got this cuantos años again. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it because it's a little faster for me. Control copy. Boop. Okay. Now, we're talking about they. Remember in a question the verb goes first, so tienen. We're going to use that stem change because it's the they form. Andrea y Susie. Okay? They are 10 years old. We've just done all this stuff with Sarah and a star. I am, they are. We're not going to use it. We're going to use tener. Ellas tienen. They have 10 años. There we go. All right. Another set of expressions. Now, there's a bunch of these. These are the only 3 we're going to focus on. Okay? Things being hot and cold. You are hot. We're not going to use a form of ser or a star. These use tener. We say we have hotness or we have cold. So, tú, you're going to say, oops, I want to make this red. Tú, you are going to have, tienes calor. Not caliente, calor. Tú tienes calor. You are hot. So it's a non-literal expression. It's an idiom. All right? And then last but not least, oops, we got to go back up here. I might not be able to fit that on that page. That's sadness. That's okay. We'll go down here. It's fine. Or we can go over here. Boom. We'll do that. I'm just going to tab it over. They, ellos, make it red so it stands out a little bit more as our answer. Ellos. Ah. My goodness. There we go. Tienen, stem change. And we have coldness. Frío. Ellos tienen frío. So it's a non-literal translation. So these are those ones you have to kind of get in your head that, oh, that expression isn't literal. All right, y'all. So there we go. Stem changing verb. There's lots of these. We are only focused on tener right now. However, we're going to learn many more of them later. So saying what we have with the verb tener. I'll see you in clase. Hasta luego.